Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it'd be fun to do a sit down video because I haven't really done one of those yet, and I wanted to talk about some of my favorite summer books, specifically just books that are set in the summer, books I love to read in the summer, and just the ones that really stood out to me. Not all of them are like 5-star perfect books, but a lot of them I thoroughly enjoyed and they just fit the perfect summer theme. So I have some physical books here, and then I do have a list on my phone. So we're gonna go through them. I'm really trying this summer to work through the physical books I have at home because I keep buying books, and then I'll rent books on my Kindle and not read the physical books I have, and they're just like taking up space. I honestly haven't been doing the best at it. I've been doing the best I can, okay? I made it to August and now I'm reading on my Kindle again. I just downloaded The Rumor by Elin Hilderbrand and I really like it, so I am flying through that one. So that's what I'm currently reading. But we're gonna go through some of my summer faves. We're gonna start with probably my favorite book of all time, and that is 28 Summers by Elin Hilderbrand. I recently learned this is also Elin Hilderbrand's favorite book, so that makes me feel really cool and special that I decided this was my favorite book before knowing it was the author's favorite book out of all her work. Just saying. So I need everyone to read this. I recommend it to everyone I talk to. It is absolutely life-changing. I'm really scared it might get a movie or TV show deal because it might not live up to the magic that is in these pages. The book starts in 1993, I believe, and it goes through each summer up until 2020. And each chapter is a summer going through all those years. And it starts with our main character, Mallory. She inherits a little home on Nantucket from a relative of hers. She decides to build a life on Nantucket. She didn't really have a plan in mind in her 20s of what she wanted to do or where she wanted to be. So this sort of fell into place for her. Her first summer at this home, she decides to host her brother's bachelor party. And during this first summer, she meets one of her brother's friends, I think his college roommate, and she had known Jake through the phone. Whenever she would call her brother, Jake would pick up. They would have a few flirty conversations during the school year, and now she's meeting Jake face to face Labor Day weekend. They immediately hit it off, and basically this whole book takes you through the 28 summers that Mallory and Jake spent together. They only see each other Labor Day weekend, and they keep that up for 28 years, despite Jake getting married, Mallory having a child with someone else. It's an affair. So infidelity is in this book. That's the one qualm I have about this book, is the basis of it is infidelity. It makes for so many mixed emotions. You love them so much as a couple, but what they're doing is wrong. No one knows that they've been seeing each other for one weekend a year for 28 years. It's crazy. The thing I love about Elin Hilderbrand is she writes so specifically. Like, she describes things you would never think need a description, and it's not in like a boring way. It just, you're there and you can't get out. Like, you need to stay in the story. I read this in 2022 and I frequently think about it. I actually probably will give it a reread soon. I sobbed when I finished. So be prepared for that. It's just like, I don't know, it just changed me. It's just one of those books that changes you, and it just goes through time in a way that makes you feel like you're the narrator. You're also part of the couple. You're watching from outside. It's crazy. I just love the way Elin Hilderbrand uses third person perspective, but makes it so much more than that. I don't know how to describe it, but it's incredible. This is a 5-star book for me. Next on my list is a good old Emily Henry book. This is Book Lovers. Now, controversially, Book Lovers is my favorite Emily Henry book, and whenever I talk to people, that's never their number one. I really like it. I don't know, I feel like the main character is very relatable to me. She's very type A, she's a little high-strung, and she has to really look inward during when the story takes place. She has to really look inward and decide, is this how she wants to be living? Does she need to make changes? Like, does she need to let people into her life? It's really great. I love it. The setting isn't my favorite. It's like mountains, North Carolina. Probably some other people's favorites. I'm not a mountain girl. But these two characters, Nora and Charlie, and their romantic love story is one of my favorite things ever. Emily Henry did such a good job on this book. The thing about her is, like, I love her characters, and I love the way she can write a setting, and I like that her books are, like, dialogue heavy. I'm a dialogue girl. I love everything they say. Nothing feels cringy to me. I'm big on, like, no cringe when it comes to romance books. There's, like, a little bit of secrecy, a little bit of mystery. It keeps you on your toes. It's just a good book from start to finish. It's cute, it's funny, it's very sentimental, it's very emotional. I did cry reading this as well. And I really like Charlie. I think Charlie is my favorite, like, male character that she's written. It's great, it's amazing. To give you a little more insight, Nora is, I believe, if I can remember correctly, I believe Nora's like a literary agent, and Charlie is an editor, I think. And they knew each other in the past through work, but now they're meeting for the first time. They're both spending the summer in the same small town, but I think they both live and work in New York City. So it's kind of like a coincidental, serendipitous situation, and it's just really charming. It's really heartwarming. Okay, next up, I actually just finished this in June. I really liked it. I didn't really have a lot of expectations. It has around 3.7 or 3.6 on Goodreads, which I think is a little low. It's not perfect. It's kind of just like that rom-com type of book, but I enjoyed reading it, like, more than I thought. It's called Summer in the City by Alex Astor, and basically I think it's supposed to be an enemies to lovers, but it ends up just kind of being like a second chance romance, friends to lovers situation, where the main character, Elle, is a screenwriter, and she is living in New York City for the summer while writing her next big screenplay that takes place in New York City. So she's there sort of for research, and she's in this beautiful penthouse, like 65th floor of some building in New York, and her one neighbor on her floor is this billionaire who's really young, really attractive, really successful. She had an unfortunate encounter with him in a previous year. So she doesn't like him, she doesn't think he remembers her, and she's a very, like, angry character. She has a lot of anger. In the first half of the book, maybe the first 3/4 of the book, I was like, this girl needs to chill out. She's mad, she's angry, she's unhappy, she's bitter, she's miserable, and who would ever enjoy her company? Is really what I was thinking. She's very much like not like other girls. Like, that part was like a tad annoying, but eventually you do learn a lot of things. There's a lot that gets revealed later in the story, which I kind of liked, and you learn more about her and where she's coming from. It's definitely from her point of view. The love interest, Parker, it's less about his point of view, but he's just as important as far as a romance goes, and it's sort of written like a rom-com movie because she's a screenwriter and she kind of writes romance movies. I liked that I could feel that, like, script sort of, that, like, screenplay sort of feel when the story was kind of like that 3-act rom-com structure. There's a lot of exposition, you learn things later on, there's, like, the climax, the falling action, all that good stuff. So it, like, feels like a movie, which is why I really liked this. And it's a nice, quick, fun summer read, nothing crazy, if you just want something really lighthearted. Okay, next on my list is a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. This is Malibu Rising. This was my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I read, and I read somewhere online where someone said that your first Taylor Jenkins Reid book will always be your favorite, so I kind of fall into that category. Actually, oh my gosh, no I don't. How could I forget? My favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book is Carrie Soto is Back, which is in my top 3 favorite books of all time. So I take that back. Carrie Soto is Back, love that book. It's not really a summary, so I didn't include it in this list, but, like, you should read it if you haven't. So anyway, Malibu Rising. So Malibu Rising is about Nina Riva. She is a famous model/surfer, and she's hosting a huge party in her Malibu mansion on the cliffs. And what I love about this book is the timeline. So it basically goes back and forth between present day and her as a kid, and even, like, it really follows, like, her mom's story when she was a child, and eventually the timelines match up and they both meet at present day. A lot of people found this book to be boring. As far as, like, a book that doesn't have much plot, I could not put it down. It was kind of like a book about nothing, but to me those are my favorite stories, just like slice of life, I would call it. And it's just a very intriguing story of her upbringing and how everything basically comes to a head at this one party that she's having in Malibu. And it switches point of views from all of her siblings, and you can see there's so much going on that no one else knows about in the family. There's a lot of secrets, and it's really just very captivating. And I'm pretty sure with the present day timeline, the chapters go like hour by hour throughout the night, and I really like that. It keeps me like on my toes. There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement. So this is just a great like beach read. It's just one of those books I didn't get bored. I like to read about people's just daily life. I think it was fun to read about each sibling and what they were going through, and you really just don't know what's going on behind closed doors is kind of like the idea of the book. Okay, next for my physical books is Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. Now, before I start, I just want to say, if you have watched the movie or plan to watch the movie, that's fine. It does not do this book justice. This is the best book Nicholas Sparks has ever written, and I was floored when I finished it. It is absolutely incredible. So the main character is Katie, and she ends up in this really small North Carolina town, and we find out that she escaped her abusive husband. So she's kind of in hiding, and she's trying to start over, and she meets Alex, and they start to form a relationship, and she gets really close to his children. He lost his wife, and Alex is a widower, and Katie also forms a friendship with her neighbor Joe. So the story is just about how she's building her new life and starting a new relationship, but like she can't tell Alex, exactly where she came from and what's going on with her because she's using a fake name, she's in hiding, and meanwhile behind the scenes her husband is tracking her down and coming to North Carolina to find her. So there's a lot of like mystery. It's a little bit of a thriller. There's a huge twist at the end. If you've seen the movie, you obviously know. But basically it has so much more subtext than the movie. Like the movie's good, but this is like unbelievable. So I love a good Nicholas Sparks book in the summer, and Safe Haven is #1 best book he's ever written, in my humble opinion. Okay, moving on to my list of books I don't have physically. Okay, so next we have also a book that's in my top 3 favorite books of all time, and that is Meant to Be by Emily Giffin. This is a fictional retelling of Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and John Kennedy Jr. So crazy enough, I read this a long time ago, and I didn't know that was what the story was about because the names were changed. So I'm reading the book, and I'm on my way to a Cape trip with my family. And I'm reading the book in the car, and I'm just like thinking, I feel like this is meant to be off of a real story. Like, I don't know, this story feels familiar to me, and I couldn't quite place it. So I'm like asking everyone in the car, I'm like, does anyone know, like, did someone exist in real time that was like part of a political family and was like considered like the most eligible bachelor, lived in New York City, but like always like was dating other people and was always in the press, like always in a tabloid, always had paparazzi following him? Because I was like, I really want to like picture a celebrity in real life as I'm reading this that like matches this description. It just feels too realistic. And my parents were like, well, yeah, that's JFK Jr. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking, and I was like, okay, it's a fictional retelling of their love story. Okay, I get it now. So that is what the book is basically about, but it's a lot more background that's obviously made up, and especially for Carolyn's side of the story, which I'm actually forgetting Carolyn's name in the book. I think it's Katie. I think her name is Katie or Caitlin maybe. And I know I know John Kennedy Jr.'s name in the book is Joseph or Joe. We're going to find out their names so that I can talk about the story properly. Okay, Kate. So Kate and Joe. So the story starts with Kate's upbringing. She came from a pretty rough home life. She grew up with a single mom, but she would date abusive men, and she just wanted to get out of her upbringing. And she falls into modeling and ends up in New York City. And then we have Joe. He just graduated law school. His mom really wants him to run for office. He doesn't want to. He doesn't know what he wants to do yet. He doesn't know when he wants to settle down. He has a girlfriend, but he feels deep down he doesn't want to marry her, but he feels like he should because she's everything on paper that would work for him and work for his family. So he's walking on the beach one day and he sees Kate doing a photo shoot, and without thinking he just goes up to Kate, gives her his business card. and he just was like, I had to introduce myself to her, even though he was dating this other girl. Him and the other girl break up, and he immediately calls Kate, and he's persistent about taking her out on a date, and their relationship starts. And there's a lot to go on in their relationship because he is like the most famous young man in America, and Kate is just Kate, and she doesn't know what she's getting herself into. She's not sure if this relationship is worth it, if she can handle the paparazzi and the money and all those things. And the story is just really about how they do everything possible to make their relationship work, even though it feels like everyone in the world doesn't want it to work for them. So they're like working against the odds. It's a really, really great story. I absolutely loved it. So definitely recommend that one. Okay, next for like a little bit of a rom-comming book, I have The Beach Trap by Ali Brady. Oh my gosh, I love when I can like remember an author without looking it up. But I do want to look up the character's first name so I can talk about it. I'm just so bad at remembering characters' first names. It's like not even funny. Okay, so I actually gave this 5 stars last year. I loved it. So the book starts with 2 best friends who meet at summer camp, like sleepaway camp. Their names are Kat and Blake. And halfway through sleepaway camp, Kat finds out her grandfather passed away and she's going to go home early. So her dad comes to pick her up, and Blake realizes Kat's dad is her dad that visits her on the weekends. So something's immediately up, and they immediately have like a terrible friendship breakup over it. Never spoke again. It was not good. And when it comes to Kat and her family, they won't address it, they won't talk about it, and Blake is raised by her grandparents, so she doesn't really know what to make of the situation. So 15 years later, their father passes away, and he leaves them his beach house in Florida. And neither of them live in Florida, and they have to come together to basically flip the house so that they can sell it, because the house is so run down. So they have to work together to remodel the home on a really tight budget and basically like learn how to like be together after not acknowledging what happened to them when they were children. It's really, really great as a story. It goes back and forth chapters from each point of view from each sister, and it's a very unique story how one sister wants to be friends, the other one's in denial that she even has a half sister. It's very interesting, and I really, really enjoyed reading that. Okay, the next book I have is Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. So a lot of people know We Were Liars. The Amazon show came out last year. Did not like the show at all. Sorry if that's controversial. I thought it was like really bad. But the book was good. What I liked even better was the prequel, Family of Liars, which came out after We Were Liars. So Family of Liars follows one of the aunts, Carrie. Now I'm blanking on the names. I'm going to put pictures up. The son of the cousins in We Were Liars, I forget his name. Did it start with like a J? I don't know. He was like the only boy in the family. This is about his mother, who has a history with like substance abuse and addiction. So the story is about an incident she had at the island they own when she was a child years prior. And it's a really, really compelling story. The way the author writes is obviously, if you've read We Were Liars, you understand it's like this sort of like poetry or style that's written in almost like missing pieces, like someone's trying to like remember something and like can only like get out information quickly before they forget something else. I don't know how else to describe the writing style of the author, but it's a lot like that. It's just as the first one. The story is just about how Carrie was always the odd one out in her family. I am now learning that my camera shut off in this moment. So, to wrap up the video, you find out why Carrie is the odd one out, and those are my summer books. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you choose to read any of them, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in my next video.